Sara, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Great.
You
I'm
have this
outside in the nice
wonderful,
weather.
yeah, I was just saying you have this wonderful background.
Yeah, and it's a real background. It's actually Östersjön in the east coast of Österlen of Sweden.
And I have
So
my beige background again.
yeah, it's even beige a color.
I actually moved from another room from the first episode, but it's still beige.
And I moved to another beach.
Okay, so let's kickstart this. This is the second episode, right?
Yeah, second episode of second season.
Second season.
Yes,
And
it's
today,
2-2 today.
2-2. And today we have on our agenda, guess what?
China.
China. And
China. Then we have China, of course. We have BigTech. We're going to talk about why we can't go to the US as Europeans, and we're going to end up with the Black Widow.
yeah, because that's your theme, Scarlett
That's my
Johansson,
theme.
and
It's my reflection over how one person or one actress could end up in a situation controlling a company like Disney. But we come back to that in the end.
yeah.
So
Let's
where do
start.
we start? With
Okay, let's
where
start with
is Jack
China.
Ma?
Where
is
is
Jack Ma?
Jack Ma? That's today's topic. He has been gone for 1 year, right?
Yeah, please. You've been to China, and you and Vibeke at that time were really fascinating about Jack Ma and the creation about Jack Ma. So maybe you can bring us into a little bit of background, who he is and what he has done, so everybody got the content of who we are missing.
Well, Jack Ma started the first. No, not the first. I don't know which one was first, Alibaba or Amazon. Actually,
I think they were at the same time. I think
maybe.
they're
But he started Alibaba, which is a huge marketplace. If you think Amazon is huge, then this is huge. And the interesting thing with that is, besides Alibaba that he started, and he have a couple of them marketplaces, he started something that he called Cainiao. And Cainiao were supposed to be this new network of how you connect assets or carriers in order to share resources and to be able to deliver outside of the bigger cities in China. The interesting thing with Cainiao is that Alibaba owns, at that time, 3 years ago when I checked it, 51% of Cainiao as a company. So everyone joining Cainiao's network were actually because they wanted to deliver Alibaba's packages. Who could say no to that? But he had a lot of difficulties to get his get other companies working with ecom to actually join Cainiao, because they didn't want to share the data with Alibaba, which was the result of joining Cainiao. So just a little bit of background. I think Jack Ma is really interesting as a person. I don't know him, but the things I have seen, he seems to be really interesting.
And he's very broadly free speaking of things that sometimes don't really go in the line with the Party of China. So 1 or 3 months before he disappeared, I think it was like August, September last year, he was supposed to put one of his payment solution company, fintech solution, on the stock exchange of Hong Kong. And he was at a conference, I think 3 days before he was supposed to go public and talk widely and open why the finance system of China should be set up to full competition. And then the company never went public, and we haven't seen Jack Ma. We have seen him in one TV performance that was probably set up by someone, I think around January, because it was too much criticism. Where is he? Is he alive? And blah, blah, blah. But actually, this has gone so far. So when Kara Swisher had the interview with Elon Musk from Tesla at Code Conference 2 weeks ago now, and she asked him about what he thinks about the Chinese tech industry and everything that happens to their value on the stock exchange going down and everything. The only answer he has was the same thing we said before. I don't really know, because I don't know where is Jack Ma. So this is really something explaining a huge change in the China's relationship to their own tech industry and the entrepreneurs that will have huge effects probably for many years. But I don't know. So I just think it's interesting to have in mind that in that country, if someone doesn't like you from a government perspective, they don't change the taxes. You disappear.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know what
Where is he then? Where is he then?
We don't know. What do you think? You think it's his?
I don't think
removed
he's dead
from the scene.
I don't think he's dead in any way. I think he's working with some kind of things for the government, helping them out, because his global network of people he knows and stuff is very important for them, and his knowledge about building logistic systems could be of high value, building the global supply chain and stuff. So I don't think, but still, what happened?
Yeah, that's really
and why isn't he free out speaking about this? If he went out and say, I don't work with this fintech anymore, I'm helping the Chinese government to rule the world, that would be much more understandable for everyone. Now, where is he? Well, it's like a cartoon, where someone just disappeared.
I'm hoping that he is working on something good. That's what I'm hoping, because
I think so.
I'm hoping. I want to be positive.
But do you think he does that?
No, I don't, but I'm hoping, and it will be something positive. One of the things that I think I like about Jack Ma is because he's the first one I've heard of speaking about LQ, and he defines it as love intelligence, which is something that he thinks is really important to teach humans, especially in the future when we are going to a more autonomous societies. And
I've seen his interviews from Davos, and he's explaining for people, don't learn math. You can't compete with AI for math, but learn to play an instrument, because they will never be that thoughtful and have this feeling that people have. So I agree with you, but where is he?
I don't know. So I want him to come back, and I want him to continue working on the LQ and EQ. So
will this be the modern version of Jesus, disappearing on the Friday and coming back on Sunday and changing the world?
I don't That would be something.
If that is it, we are with something historical here. Let's see. But it was not 3 days. Maybe it was not 3 days for Jesus either. But in the future, you will say Jack Ma disappeared on a Friday. Everybody was sad for Friday, ate some lamb on Saturday, and he came back on Sunday and told us a great thing.
I want him to come back, and I want him to continue to work on the LQ and EQ, because I really believe we're gonna need that.
Yeah, sure thing. But going from this country really controlling everything, including their entrepreneurs, even their international most successful entrepreneurs, stopping companies from being stock exchange, over to the real capitalist big tech then.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, 4 years ago, I was at Shop Talk in Las Vegas. That was at the time where you still go to conferences and meet a lot of people in Vegas. It's really weird today. I would never go back there, actually, even if they invited me now, say that COVID is slow to come back to Vegas. And say, no way. But anyway, Google appeared 4 years ago saying that we have all the ads. Amazon is one of our biggest clients, buying most ads, because they're driving traffic to the Amazon platform for people to buy. Let's launch Google Shop.
Google Shopping, yeah.
And they had the most money at that time. I think they even had more money than Apple. Today, Apple is the role number one, of course, in this area. But they had all this money. They had the Google search engine. You are based on YouTube. You have the partner network selling Google ads all over the world, and you control actually what happens when anybody does a search, even on your phone from Apple. And they are the number one choice. How comes, do you think, 4 years later, with this enormous budget, this first in line access to a consumer, everybody says you need to get access, you need to have the interface, that they still don't even have a percentage of the sales that Amazon has?
Yeah, so you can only speculate, but for me, I think it's Google comes from the search engine perspective, while Amazon comes actually from the commerce perspective, from the first. And I think
selling books.
So they have been in trading forever. Meanwhile, that's not the same situation for Google. And I believe that that conversion to becoming a trading company and with physical items is too hard for them. And meanwhile, Amazon is progressing. Meanwhile, Amazon is getting bigger. So the competition is getting harder for them to take up any competition. But that's my reasoning around it.
I think you're right here. And the really interesting thing is actually that I think in a lot of important segments, what happens during these 4 years is actually Amazon taking over to be the number one search engine instead.
Yeah.
So now they don't even roll their existing business where they come from, going for Amazon for shopping, and now they lost the search engine.
Yeah,
and that's really interesting. I don't say I like it. You know what I hate? No, I don't hate people. I don't like organizations like Amazon. But in this case, I said last week that I like Chinese people, but I don't like the China system. But in this case, I don't either like Amazon or Jeff Bezos. So I can say that because I don't think he's taking any responsibility with being the richest guy on the planet.
I dislike him and Amazon a lot.
But the successful in his business model, you can't say he's bad at that. He's really good at that. He converted it in to be the number one search engine. That's amazing.
You know what I've seen maybe it's a too general statement from my side, but I've seen it can be much easier to go from the physical world into digital and not the opposite around, because in Google's world they have never had to take in consideration a physical item. They come from exchanging data digitally, and then we have the logistical change about actually handling a physical item. Google has no experience in doing that if we look at the history. Meanwhile, Amazon have it, and then they added the whole digital layer around it. And I think that's an easier transformation than the other way around.
Okay. And that's interesting if that is so, and I can agree with you. But this means that Facebook will not be successful in shopping either, and they have proven they are not. They are just successful in the part of you choosing the product, but not getting it delivered and so on. But who is the number one of the big tech on logistics?
Who would you say?
Apple. You always get your iPhone in time. You always get it in a nice package. It works well. They have the best stores in the world.
They did those in parallel from the beginning.
Exactly. So who could be the winner for the future if you come into a situation where we're going to buy less China crap?
Yeah.
Even if Apple produced that too, I know. But anyway, and we're going to reuse our stuff in circularity. We're going to move stuff around. We're going to reuse products like cars for the future. who has the best opportunities here, depending on the DNA.
I'm actually willing to agree on this. This is interesting because
this is really interesting, and they have the biggest amount of cash money available right now also.
But what's happening then? Because something that I'm disappointed at in Apple after Steve Jobs, when it comes to hardware itself, nothing is happening.
I know. Either they should have returned the money to their investors, but that hasn't happened. They're the most high-valued company right now in the world and has most cash. They would actually be part of the G7 conference if they were a country. Why haven't they returned the money? And where, in which area can you put this huge amount of money and have it to work for you? Either you go to space. I don't believe that Apple will go to space. Nothing talks about that. So what's the second biggest thing you can do with this money to really get it into work? Transportation.
And do you think, because they launched their air tax,
yeah, the air tax, they have the infrastructure, so let's just have this mind-blowing thought that they could enter into a city like Paris, saying to the management of the city or part of the city that we will put in a transportation system in Paris, because everybody could join it directly with their watch, their iPhone, and we will connect them using AirTags technology, so you don't even need a network.
I believe though Apple can be the player that actually really connects the physical world with the digital world. But in terms of their iPhone and the MacBooks and so on, nothing is happening on that.
No. I think they will go for healthcare, and I'm glad for that, because the only one doing that right now is Google and Amazon. Otherwise, and I don't want Google to be my doctor, and I definitely don't want Jeff Bezos in my body. I'm sorry to say.
But why?
But
I have a question. I have to ask you this. Why are you rooting for Apple? Because Apple is another silo structure.
I know. They are the most siloed of everyone. That's why they're also good on the logistics, because they siloed themselves very early on everything, including software and hardware. I'm just rooting for them because they have the amount of money. They haven't returned it to the investors. And if you do the math on a global level, what to invest in, I don't think Apple will invest in energy besides their own data production sites, for instance, and stuff like factories and so on. But that huge amount of money they have, that's like a promille they're going to use to that. So what should you do with all this money? And before I speculated in, should they start to build houses? I call them iPods. Should they have large television? It's too complicated and too costly to distribute compared to what you get. You get more money today for an iPad or an iPhone than you get for an 85 times television. So no. So what are they doing? HomePods? No, they're not doing that. Apple Watch, no one wants it. Cars? I don't know. Maybe. Okay. We will see.
We will see. I'm not cheering for anyone developing the next huge silo structure. So I hope that bubble will soon explode.
So let's hope the next coming week that they will return a huge amount of money to the investors.
No, I don't want that, but they can actually promote other startups and so on and work together on a new solution. That
never happened with Apple. So it's better they return the money to the people investing in them, and then hopefully those money will end up with investors, putting them into other projects with startups.
Yeah, then
that's the best hope.
Yeah, I would prefer that. Okay, let's move to our next topic.
Yeah, sure. Are you going to the US?
Are you going to the US? What's happening?
I can't go to the US. This is so complicated, So for going to US as a tourist, for you that tried that out, you have to have what they call an ESTA. An ESTA gives you the opportunity to visit US, to visit a friend, even have business meetings or whatever for up to 90 days. You can apply for ESTA, having that for 2 years. If you want to run a business and really work inside US, and work inside US means that you get paid from someone in US, you need a work permission, another type of immigration paper. Big companies from Europe, Asia, and all over has specialized immigration achievements called H2. Companies like Ericsson, Tetra Pak, and those. This means that you can say a person is very special for a project, needs to work in the US for 2 to 5 years or something like that. They applied for an H2. That person can move there with the family. Everything works out. Or you can apply for what they call a green card. Then you actually turn into be a citizen of the US. You will start to pay taxes, and you will never be able to end as a citizen of US. That's a lot of people dreaming about that. I wouldn't suggest that you do that, but anyway, it's up to everyone. Somewhere between these big companies and our entrepreneurs projects, they also have an entrepreneur visa program called the E2 program. I got that a week before COVID because we are going to try to establish LogTrade in the US. This means that for 2 years, I was able to travel to the US, work in the US, establish a company. 1 week, I was traveling there. I was there. You called me saying that something happened in Italy, and there seems to be some kind of virus. And me and Minna, our business developer in the US, we fly home. And now in February, my visa ends.
And the fun part for me is that you, in the beginning of this, you were saying, well, we will go back in 3 months, 4 months, and every time extending that period. And I really believe we're not gonna be able to go over for at least 1 more year. And I know we're still preparing for the spring, but I don't think that will happen.
No, so the embassy is not open. The presidential order isn't changed. There was actually a newspaper article from, I think, Financial Times saying that from November we could go again. But from our lawyers now, we just heard that, yeah, that's a newspaper article.
Yeah.
So the information we have right now is giving hope for possibility for spring. I agree with you there, but I need to live for hope. But probably not to the next autumn or maybe later.
No, we're not going there. I'm so certain we're not going there in at least 1 year. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm hoping we have to go over, but I'm not keeping my hopes up on this.
This will end up in a mental disease situation otherwise, and yeah, we have to handle that then.
Yeah, well, I will keep my hopes up on Jack Ma returning, but I don't think we're going to the US anytime soon.
Maybe Jack Ma ends up being the president for US, changing the presidential order, and I can go to California.
I knew you would go there. I knew you would go there.
A great ending of this story.
Okay, should we end with a little bit of your Scarlett Johansson,
Black Widow,
Black Widow and Disney?
You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
So Black Widow is part of the Marvel productions that Disney does. You know, these cartoon-based superheroes, not able to die situation, saving the world, Superman, Superwoman, blah blah blah. It's Marvel. And one of their most expensive production was actually a production with Scarlett Johansson starting 2 years ago. And she ended up in my situation with my visa. But in her case, how should we distribute this movie? And everybody says, they closed down all the places where people is going to watch movies. And then Disney says to her, so let's stream it. And remember now that Scarlett Johansson, she's 38, 49 years old like that. She was breaking, is it 15 years ago with this Tokyo movie. she was the most well-paid actress 2018 and 19. So this is not someone that you're negotiating with as a traditional actor being part of a movie. She is the movie.
Yeah.
She is the product. And for me to understand that one actress in this case and her lawyer team, of course, and her entourage around it could actually put a company like Disney on hold of taking a decision, should we stream a movie or not? For a year. This is one of the biggest companies in the world, you know. For 1 year. I really think they were hoping that couldn't they be Mickey Mouse? Because they completely draw him and own everything he does, you know. And now suddenly they have a real person saying, no, I don't want that. And that ends up in stopping the distribution and anything. But anyway, 2 weeks ago, I read in the paper, agreement is in place. Scarlett accepted to, and this is really funny. Now COVID is over, they're opening up the movie theaters again, and now they made the arrangement, you can stream it. So the tip of the week from me being in Sweden, what you call a small landing, and that's actually a Swedish version of Scottish or a global version of being Arabic. Isn't it so, Sarah?
No, it's not true, but yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
It's being she.
Going to a movie, looking to this production that was very expensive and her getting a lot of money should probably cost you around $20-25 or 200 Swedish crowns, something like that. Now you can sign up for Disney Plus for 79 Swedish crowns, $9 a month, and watch it.
Yeah.
That's a bargain.
Yeah.
So whatever you like about this is a James Bond on steroids and with girls.
So
it's great if you want to not fall asleep. It's great. I don't say it's good or bad. I just say if you don't want to fall asleep, I want some entertainment, this is great.
But what you're saying actually is don't wait too long.
Because they open the movie theaters and maybe there are some clauses in this saying that you can only stream it for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I don't know. Watch it.
Great. I think we can end up this episode by Disney and Scarlett.
Disney Plus is the best one. And when you have Disney Plus, you can watch all the Toy Story movies. All of them.
Okay,
That's
guys.
a great weekend. Take care,
and
guys.
You have your weekend planned. Bye, everyone.
And take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.